Today, I close the door to the past, open the door to the future, take a deep breath, step on through, and start a new chapter in your life because it's never too late to start for a new beginning. So, for starting a new chapter, or we can say a new webinar, I, Shilpa Sharma, your host for the day, wants to extend a warm greeting and good evening to all of you present here. On behalf of whole DigiSaksham family, I welcome you all for today's webinar on topic Mindfulness at Work. I hope you all are doing amazing. Also, I see a quite number of people are joining us. Before I proceed, let me take a brief moment to introduce you all to my organization. DigiSaksham is an initiative by SEMS family or SEMS Welfare Foundation that has established content for over 300 courses in various languages, ranging from 4 hours to 6 months in various sectors of IT, BFSI, retail, and entrepreneurship for all age groups, ranging from school children, youth, professional, and senior citizens. And also, it has an MOU which was formed to provide training in areas of entrepreneurship, livelihood generation, and capacity building to roughly 4,000 students, as well as to upskill faculty members at various institutions in Uttar Pradesh. As discussed earlier, the topic of the today's webinar is Mindfulness at Work by our speaker of the day, Ms. Shirantuni Moon. Mindfulness is a mental state achieved by focusing on one's awareness on present moment while calmly acknowledging and accepting one's feelings, thoughts, and bodily sensations. But in a world where everything seems to move at a great pace, being present in the moment can be difficult. The workplace can be a fast-paced, stressful environment. Is it possible to thrive rather than flounder in work environment? The key may lie within the mindfulness, gently noticing that what is going on around you in the present moment without passing any judgment. Though the research is somewhat lagging in the area of mindfulness at work and mindful leadership, it is nevertheless growing in interest. This allows me to capture and share the power of mindfulness at work. On discussing this in detail, I'm profusely delighted to have our guest speaker, Ms. Shirantuni Moon. She is life coach, CEO, and founder of Being by Moon, and they work with companies, colleges, and have their own 1-month training program called Being CE. They have trained 500 plus individuals on understanding their soul purpose and out with their top tier management to bring back creativity and ease in work life. Their flagship program is about bringing effective leadership and a strong presence. The world is full of diamonds and gems, and we are having one of them with us today. So without any further ado, I would like to give my heartiest welcome to our guest speaker, Ms. Shirantuni Moon.
Hi, everyone. First of all, I would like to say, Shilpa, that was amazing. The entire speech was really lovely to hear. Okay. So today is a really beautiful topic that has been talked about a lot nowadays, which is mindfulness at work. And, there was a time when this term wasn't that popular. And the reason this term wasn't so much talked about earlier was because the fact that we were always in sync with who we were. Think of Shakespeare, think of all the architecture, poetries, philosophies that have come in time which still stand strong with all the agendas that they have come up with. The philosophies that people thought of long time ago are still relevant in these moments when there is so much of technology and so much of rapidness that is going on. So the point is that how is this mindfulness a concept of now rather than a concept of earlier times? There was a time when people had a moment to just be in the moment. What I am trying to say is, if they were folding a cloth, they were just feeling the cloth and being there with the cloth. When they were having a sip of water, they were just holding the glass, feeling the glass, and then having a sip of water. There is profound beauty, delightness, and mindfulness in that very moment, drinking a sip of water. We have traveled through generations humanity has traveled through different kinds of changes. I wouldn't like to say just a part of a generation like industrialization to say that, things have become very black and white. But that is a part of the reason that why we are not present in the moment. I would like to elaborate on what I just said. There was a time when people were able to be in the moment because they weren't worried that there was something that they wanted to be very forcefully aware of, and there was not something so difficult for them to hold on to, meaning that there were tragedies in the past, and there are tragedies even in the current times. But with this concept of wanting to win in life, like there is a definition to having a perfect life, it is so important for people nowadays to always be winning in every task they do. In fact, we have started labeling the tasks as well, that this is important, this isn't important. And interestingly enough, if we were to eliminate certain tasks like drinking water or having food or breathing for the sake of productivity, we would have done that. That's just not possible for us, right? So, but we weren't always like this. I don't know, but I would like to share this. When I was a child, I used to notice people, and they would have this moment wherein they wouldn't be doing anything but just looking at something far off distance, at something that wasn't even there. Just sitting there and just staring at something. I don't find that a lot nowadays with people. That moment when you're not doing anything and you're just there completely, your mind and your body is there in the moment and just focused on a task. That's a whole new level of sharpening and refining which is going on. Those little tiny moments that people used to have in an hour to just stop and be was a profound moment of mindfulness. But interestingly, none of the books or none of the films that we ever saw showed us that that was an important task to do. Like to do nothing or to be nothing was an important task to do. So somehow it became that productivity became the new norm. It became like if you are productive, then you are successful, and if you are successful, you are valid, right? And validation is the biggest prize that a human wants, not in a temporary sense, but it is imbued in us because we are social animals. We want to be with people. We like being with people. So they thought, you know what? If this is what it takes to be with people, to gain respect and validation from people, why not just be that? Just be successful. And if you're not successful, that means you are you are not respected, you are not worthy, and you are not worthy to be loved even. And this whole distraction that created this idea that either I am doing something that is making me win, or even if I am relaxing, I should relax in a way that gives me instant happiness. Instant happiness is a disease that is so sly in its behavior that we do not even know that it has entered our system and corrupted us. It is not to say that just technology is responsible for it, but it is also this thought process that having fun in a little time would save me more time. This ideology is the reason why we use a technology in a way. So let's just open this topic a little bit. Happiness. So, there is a lot of research going on, especially in Silicon Valley, to how to generate new technologies for humans to live for 200 years or 500 years or forever even. And as a human, it's a fun idea to have, and there's nothing wrong with it. We can always dream of big things. But the problem with that kind of thought process is we somehow feel that if we eliminate this idea of death, maybe we will be happy. And that's not true. Because happiness does not come from, constantly doing something that makes you happy. Humans are happy when they go through this transition of trying to accomplish something, putting in the work, and then receiving result. This is the process. Okay. But people sometimes feel that maybe before getting that result day, the process of work and the process of effort and figuring out, maybe that is not a happy time to be. But that's not really true. That's a creative time to be. And if you are creative, you will be happy. We have, rather than, so to understand this properly, to gain a true fullness of this concept, mindfulness at work, let's just, you know, think of it in parts. We have talked about mindfulness, what is it, and all of its concept, most of its concept. Let's talk about work. Okay, what is work? Whenever someone asks us, what do you do? What do we say? Uh, Hi, I'm a doctor. I'm an engineer. I'm an accountant. But what a work truly is this expression of our very unique DNAs within all of us. We all have very unique codings embedded in each and every cell. Okay, and it has a way to express itself unique, and we do that in our work. Our work is a place where we bring out the most of our beauty, of our creativity, to bring forth a change in our lives. Everything that we do is to help others. You believe it or not, but no matter how much we say that, my I work because I want to earn money, I want to do this or that. But ultimately, the highest goal of every human is to bring change in this planet, is to make this planet grow a little more. And we do that subconsciously or consciously. But that is the ultimate goal that a human has. Our work is how we do it. Every morning when we are waking up and going and doing something that we are excited about, that is our gene expressing itself. That is the divine in us that is expressing through the work we do. Okay. When we say mindfulness at work, what we are trying to mean simply is that I am going to take a minute to enjoy the thing that I am doing. I am going to be here in this moment, feeling everything that is happening, the wholeness of the moment, the duality of the scene. And then I'm going to be here, not wanting to surpass a moment, not wanting to surpass an event, none of that. I'm just going to be here and feel it. That's it. Just think about it for a minute. If you were to give in this exercise, where you were asked that today you will not think of anything in the future or anything of the past. You were strictly on a diet to do something and be in the now. That's it. And anytime you move your thoughts from the present, you'll have to just simply come back. This is also what meditation is. But what if we were to do that on a regular basis? When we are reading, when we are tired, or when we are doing anything, we are not trying to surpass a bad moment and not trying to get ourselves hooked in something that makes us happy temporarily, and just being there. The reason why mindfulness is important nowadays is because that we have started to come in an era where there is a lot of shallow work. Shallow work means work that does not have a level of supremacy, something that will not stand the test of times. A work which is done just because it had to be done. When we go to work, just think about it. How many hours are we spending on emails, meetings, when in actuality, deep work means to get yourself completely involved in an activity of deep research? How many hours do we spend like that? Now, a lot of people will say, Shrantani, that is my job to have meetings, emails, that is my job. I don't think any job profile mentions that. That is a part of it, but that's not the whole task of it. So even if that is the truth, that we have come to a place where the offices expects us to do things like this, like, speak, do something, but nothing inside is changing. Everything is just shrinking more and more. In times like these, it is important that you take time out any time in the day. I like it in the morning, that you are just focusing on something which you enjoy, something that you are creatively involved in, researching and reading in. See, our minds is like this absorbing machine. It's constantly absorbing things. The moment it wakes up in the morning, that's the time when it's the most fresh, right? And hour by hour, this machine starts absorbing things and start interpreting things, and then it starts living in a place which is called as action reaction. Action reaction. Somebody smiles at me, I feel good. Somebody did not smile at me, I do not feel good. Consistently we are trying to match either people's expectation, or we are trying to give them a proper tit for tat reaction, so that we feel safe, that I'm not being used by anyone, or I'm not you know I'm not being a sloth, and I'm not being used by anyone. I want to be good, but I also don't want someone to use me. And in this kind of a reactory behavior, we forget the bigger picture. The bigger picture is to realize time and again, every day, that why am I here? Why am I doing the things that I do? Is there something that I enjoy more than this? Or is it that I love my work, but I'm not able to do my best because I'm so lost in how tired I am, in how or maybe I'm just constantly saying stuff to myself that I'm not productive enough, I'm not good enough, maybe I should do more, or that other people are better than me, without even realizing day and again. See, our ego has certain set of functions that it does. It's programmed to do that. What are the certain sets of functions that ego does? One is it. Okay, first of all, ego is not let me explain what an ego is. Ego is simply set of data that makes our identity and identity of the world that is around. That's it. Okay. Now, the thing about ego is, or a lot of people they say a mind level thinking is that it lives in this action reaction kind of world. Okay. We live in a planet of duality. What does it mean is there is sun and there is rain, there is light and there is darkness. There is equal proportion of two opposites available in any situation. Similar, just like there is some goodness in setting goals, there is also this reverse effect of it, which says that if this is the goal and this is my journey, let me just try skip. And so, in order to skip it, there is a whole range of productivity industry that talks about how you can eliminate stuff, how you can bypass some areas of your life and focus on certain other areas. Then there are some other brilliant people who try to twist this ideology into ideas that can benefit them. Like, for example, if you work in certain company and the companies have certain goals, then they'll say that everything other than that goal is not that important. So then the people are like, all right, if that's the truth, if that's what I'm taught all my life in all my uh, times alive on this planet, that you should achieve your goal and you should work hard. That means that if my boss is telling me this is the goal and you have to work hard and everything else away from that goal is unnecessary, let me just try skipping. And then to do that, it would have been amazing, if that was a linear process, but that doesn't really happen. When a person starts eliminating these little nothing moments that have no meaning, just moments of being there and just being alive, when we start removing these moments, a person start becoming more hollow. There is nothing left for a person to give. Let's just talk about it. We all have something to give to this planet, to our families, to our friends, to our companies. Okay? But the moment we start to not fill our cups and just do something and become something, that cups start empty to a point where there is nothing left in the cup, and we start just giving this illusion that the cup is full and just trying, because I'm going to fulfill this.
I'm going to get this goal done, then this goal done, then this goal. Sometimes it goes to a point where a person has a point where something outside of it, like an accident or something like that, comes in their life, and they have to stop and take pictures. Then the nature forces them to do something like that, where they cannot do anything and just be. And that's the moment they realize, oh my God, I was missing out. The days were just passing by day after day after day. And all I had to speak of was my achievements. And this is the wrong ideology that, if you calm down, you will not achieve it. That's wrong. If that was the truth, people wouldn't have brought this whole idea of mindfulness at work by itself. If it could have been eliminated, people would have eliminated. But the reason it is necessary is because that's that is what the new times are asking. This is a time when people nowadays are realizing that I, as an individual, is what I have meaning, and everything I do creates and brings that meaning out for us. I am a color, and everything that I touch and do has a color of me in. Now, for me to truly show my colors and become more of the person that I am, it is necessary that I have an understanding of who I am, that I every day put some level of work into bringing out the person I truly am. And how do you do that? How do you truly bring out mindfulness in a person? By telling them that you don't have to be anyone else. First is, when I work with uh, companies or with individuals, we talk about these two kinds of ways in which you can make a thing react, any react, in a way where you are happy throughout the movement. Okay, so let's see how is that. There are basically just two ways by which you can make things happen, change things. One is the manifestation. What is a manifestation? So you have a current reality, and you have certain desired reality, right? So manifestation is this technique where it narrate your life in the direction of the things that you want. That is the first, which is to, to continuously bring a timeline of the future that you love the most in your current system, wherein you think and believe and become the person you want. And you act like the person who has the things that you desire. All right. The second way is you do not escape the reality that you have. Right. The second technique is you say that I take this whole, the complete whole, and not try and escape anything that is happening, not try and bypass the emotions that I'm having, and simply be more of what this moment is trying to reveal itself. So every person, every situation is not happening to us, it is happening for us. So what it means is that everything that is happening to in front of us is giving us a clue into what an emerging reality is. What is it that is trying to revolve itself, is trying to bring about itself in the now. So when I work with someone, my thought process is let's mix both of them and bring the best of both worlds. How do you do that? Find an activity that you enjoy, an activity which you do not do for the sake of winning or being competitive, but an activity that you do simply because you love. Okay, and what happens when you involve activity? Let's, for example, I like to paint, but I don't know how. Right, I have never painted competitive. So what I do is I bring all of these colors and bring all of the things that could an artist bring in, okay, and just start painting. There is no reason, there is no purpose behind doing that activity, but I am so involved in doing that activity that everything within me unlocks. Every question that I am trying to solve by my mind level thing gets solved in an activity which has nothing concrete to offer them. Isn't that just so amazing? There is, we live in the world where they say that if you want to go from A to B, there are certain set of steps, and if you do not do those steps, you won't get to step, which is true. But there is also a part which says that every time you are trying to go to step B, there is something that is changing and unlocking within you. And until and unless that change is within you, regardless of how many times and how many steps physically you try to change via activity, the purpose is never going to be fulfilled. I just want you to think about what I said, right? That until and unless the change that you're trying to bring in the future, if that reality is not birthing within yourself, it will not show itself in the now. And when we say birthing within yourself, that means that the joy of just being here and seeing the fullness of now will unlock and move you in the direction of what you truly desire. Right? So let's say if you want to become a scientist, you have to, people say, okay, if you want to become a scientist, you have to study a lot. But before studying a lot, there should be some changes that are happening within you. When you're reading a line, when you're reading a sentence, you're also tasting that sentence and being with that sentence and making connection between different ideas and theories and then actively participating in it. That process itself will unlock a lot of new realities, a lot of new opportunities. We need to have such kind of behavior in our day-to-day life, and I would say that companies should, actively bring in some, changes with their space and in their timetables where they give time to people to actively participate in a concrete focused task wherein they are just doing the task for simply doing the task. There is no next moment that they are waiting for, and there is nothing attached to their identity about this task that's pushing them backward. Here and now. The interesting thing about mindfulness or a lot of these concepts is there is very thin line between this side and that side. And a lot of times people feel that when they take one side, it means they have to oppose the other side. If they are saying mindfulness, they should be opposing productivity or work. And if they are choosing productivity and work, that means they should be opposing this. That's a flaw that we should recognize within ourselves. When this planet accepts and appreciates the duality of things, then we should. So, how do we understand if we want to be calming or calming in the moment, or we should be doing something, like doing something productive, or should we be doing something that is calming us down and, letting us be? How do we understand the difference between these two processes and when to do it? So, okay, how do we understand? The easiest way to understand what you should be doing is when you stop and say, what is it that I would in this moment right now that would give us happiness? People after this sentence, whenever I say, just do the thing that make you happy, they're like, if that was the truth, I would simply be sitting on a beach and drinking tea. I like tea, so I prefer. That's not really true, no activity that you want, like even if it is sitting on a beach, you wouldn't want to do it every day. We love it. So if you are doing the job, really like the job, think about when is the time of the day when I feel I cannot go anywhere, like I cannot just keep doing this thing. And if in that moment, if I cannot just throw all the work and come back home, what is it something that I can do in minute fractions every single hour that would help me restore my energy so that at the end of the day, I do not feel drained? Do I have mechanisms? Do I have a list of things that I can do to fill my cup? And do I have a way or list of things or schedule or routine or rituals that let me know within me that if I do this right now, it would make me really happy? The thing is, we see our lives as a work in progress. If we see the little things in our lives, like waking up, going to bed, all of these things as a ritual and do it with that sort of mindset that we are doing something that is very profound in itself. An activity so small as drinking water, there is a slight shift that would start happening within you, wherein you would stop feeling so strange. If you're going to get coffee in your office space, use that moment to be with yourself, not on your mobile, not anywhere else, but just there, just being. And if you're working from home, just try make a, a ritual, a routine wherein you leave room for yourself to get yourself relaxed, but at the same time, it involves you productive because we love doing both of these things. We love to calm down and we love. So what it means is now we have to figure out ways in which we can do both of these activities in the most best way possible. Now, how to do it is a very inside process and a very individual process. To say that, you should do this, you should wake up at this time of the day and you should sleep at this time and do this is repressive and it's not right because I don't know what is right, what would suit you. Maybe it would happen that you're not able to sleep early, you sleep late at this equally, and you don't know how to sleep early. So let's not fight. Let's give ourselves that empathy, that room wherein we say that, hey, Stephanie, I accept. It's okay. It's fine. If something that is supposed to do you good and it's not happening right now in this moment, it is all right. It will, but right now in this moment, let me be with myself. And if being with oneself is hurting, then that means that the inner system is corrupt by data that is unnecessary. So, a lot because there is a lot of talk on productivity. This is not something very new. Okay? People long back in 20s and 30s and 40s, the time when clocks came out, printing machines came out. Clock came out because people wanted to slice up time and make it more interesting for people to live. And also when industrialization came up, it was like this time, then this much time is money, all of that. So interestingly enough, it came a point wherein it was like, what what should I do in this moment that is going to give me the most best? And we stopped living with who we are in the right now. And we became like, if I cannot do something amazing, then let me just escape. Meaning that we do not watch things on our mobile constantly because we want. We do it because we're trying to escape a thought process within us. We're trying to escape our reality. That is a truth of humans, that existential suffering. And people, our great grandfathers and grandmothers have gone through this phase wherein they were doing something because they did not want what is here. And so let's then talk about that. Let's not do that thing where, like children, when they don't want to go to school, they say, my head is paining. When the actual question should be that if I don't want to go to school, if there is something that's bugging me in the school, let's talk about that. If I am sitting with myself and it is not a very fun process, then let me just do some understand myself better, to clear up the data, to clean the data and see what is useful and what is just this useless data that is being given to me. And I just took it because I didn't knew what to absorb and about. And then let's start meet our 3 year olds, 6 year olds, teenage, and ask them what is happening, what happened. Because, you know, we feel that when we are 30, 40 or 50, the child in us, the teenager in us, the early 20s in us has left. No, they're still there. They're still there with all of their lessons, with their hurt and their happiness and everything that has happened. And if we don't take out time to answer them mindfully, they'll come with us with all of those hurt parts. And what happens, when that happens is that when we are working on anything, when we work big trying to drink water, that hurt is being carried from moment to moment to moment. And then we say, hey, people are doing a lot of shallow, temporary work which doesn't have a lot of quality because people are spending a lot of time on mobiles. That's not the problem. The problem is that people are on mobiles because they are not happy with something. With if that's the truth, then let's just figure that. A lot of time, it's not even like a hurt. Sometimes it's that people are not well. Sometimes we have deficiencies. Sometimes we are not eating the right food or don't have the right diet. Then, when the body is not healthy, it doesn't produce good thoughts. Our bodies are subconscious. Okay, like our ego is a very conscious being, always trying to make a judgment, aware system. Our bodies are subconscious. It stores data and information from not only our lifetimes but generations. So if you are not happy in the moment, then it is a moment when you need to spend time with yourself and understand that is it something in the past that I have not given myself that acceptance and that understanding and approval that regardless of what will happen, I will love myself. And because I did not give that to the child version of me, the teenager version of me, now when I am just sitting with my thoughts, it is not very pleasant. One of my mentors said that if you cannot go and have yourself, why would anyone else want to have? Isn't that amazing? I always say, and I always write about this idea that your brain should be like having at least twice a day is necessary. Some of you I think are not from India, but here in India it's like customary. Chai do bad means tea is like a two-time thing. Do it. It's a necessary, and being with yourself should be like having that refreshing time where it is so much fun that you just smile and like being with yourself. Your mind should be your best because it always gives you way best to not be anywhere else than to be with yourself. If you bring that level of likingness towards yourself, your life is going to be amazing. I can write that. If that's something very that's like the holy grail of everything that we're talking to bring any kind of mindfulness or to make yourself have any kind of new habit or bring new realities in your life. It starts with you having a good relationship and not leaking your energy in fear and anxiety and in desperation. Okay, I can take some questions now.
Okay. What if your environment is toxic and mindset cannot coordinate? And to work in that environment, how do you think that these negative aspects will affect you and how to overcome these?
Yeah, okay. So, this is a very big question that you ask that how can we grow in a workplace that is toxic, right? That is the gist of the question. So, first of all, let's not try to be in an area like that. And if you can change it, then let's change. But a lot of times that is not possible. So, how do we do that? So, now whatever solution that I'm going to tell you now, do not think of those solutions that that's not possible. Never have that closed mindset. If I'm saying that something is possible, that means it is possible because we have tried it and we have seen results, right? Okay. So one thing that you always have to remember that if you are in a negative space, be it home or office, first of all, never, well, it would happen. If there are people in our environment that you do not like, even when you're not saying anything to them, they can sense that you don't like, okay? They can feel that this person do not feel that I'm smart enough. And as much as you feel the burden of that negativity, they also feel so. And I understand that there are some people who are takers, who like to be the one who take things from others and give nothing to them. And we have those bosses. But remember that even those bosses are humans. And if something is alive and is a human, that means they have a place of goodness. A very popular CEO said this once. He said that give humans enough time and they will surprise you. So what it means is that if you do not, first of all, we are all energy. Okay. So whoever we are and whoever is in our lives, through some through some thought process of ours, through some vibrational alignment, they are in our lives. Okay. Everything that is happening with us is because it has something to teach us. Okay. And now that's a really heavy thing to accept, that everything that is happening with us is because of us. And it sometimes people take it in a very in a wrong way. And I understand that, if something is not going right in the direction of what you want, then it sometimes feel that maybe if it's because the things I am, then maybe I am a lower energy being and all that. That's not the point that I'm trying to make. The point I'm trying to make is, no matter what is happening, it is changeable. So if there is someone who is not making you that happy, then it is possible that you can change your vibrational alignment and you can remove that person from your environment without even trying to put unnecessary physical activity. I'm not saying you can remove a person through planning or plotting. A lot of people do that, you know? But you can do that without even having to do. How do we do that? Is take small steps. First thing tomorrow, if some of you have an environment stocks at all, if it is about some people around you who are giving you that unhappy place, stop having a negative conversation about them in your, okay, and find something that you enjoy and immerse yourself in. Why do we do that? Why do we? And sometimes, what happens is, when we hate someone too much, they're constantly talking about them even when they are not around us. Even when we are talking to anyone, we are thinking about it. So that person is always enough, and then that relationship gets very difficult. So don't go in that kind of alignment, in that kind of relationship. You know? Start cutting people off, and by cutting people off means start cutting them off mentally. When you and how do you cut off mentally? You can never. It's not like a cord which you can just cut it off, right? And the only way to cut off a cord is by forgiving them, and then just let them, not judging their actions. Okay? And that is a profound act, because it is the only way you will find that either that person will get removed from your environment when you are actively energetically engaged in something that you love, or that person will change. And we have seen that a ton of times. That would be my answer for your question.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much for answering.
Okay. First of all, it's evening in the Philippines. So since in India it's morning, right? Okay. I wanted to say good morning, everybody. My question, ma'am, is: do you think that our workplace, since I am working as a call center agent, do you think my workplace has a huge role on how I develop myself in terms of communication, adapting the new environment, and especially how I interact to my co-office mate? Do you think that my workplace has a huge role on my life, or the way I communicate and the way I adapt the new environment?
So, hi, Sean, and very good morning to you. It's actually a very beautiful question. So, and communication has several parts. One important part is
Okay.
speaking.
Mhm.
Okay, that how you speak and say things in a way that it sticks with others, that whoever meets you remembers you. And that's profound, because what happens is, when you develop such kind of communication wherein people can be with you and stick with the idea that you have given them, you will find that no matter where you, in work, in office, in a party, people will come to you, want to connect with you, or want to be in the room, right? And a lot of times communication is not just verbal. A lot of the communication is non. A person, when they meet you, within 7 seconds, they just feel something, and there is a series of changes, series of decision making that happens within them, that wants to either be with you or not be with you. And communication is an interesting part, because we speak so much every single day, but only few ideas. Some people, when they come, they spend like 5-10 minutes with us and give us something and talk for 5-10 minutes. And it's like, wow, that was amazing. And we feel that at times, like I could relate, I could listen to this person whole day. That is the power of communication, of having such presence. Okay, now how do we do that? How do we bring that kind of a communication? We bring that kind of communication first by bringing a change within yourself. In the talk, I mentioned that if you want to go from point A to point, you have to bring certain kind of changes to yourself. Let's see, communication. If someone is in the room with you, why do they want to be in a room with you? If people are in a party, why do they want to come with you? Because humans have a tendency to move towards light, right? So if you speak or if you do not speak, but if you have a lot of light, you have a lot of, if you're pumping oxygen in the room, then people will be attracted. Sometimes people, like a lot, people just like are drawn towards energy, right? And for that, it doesn't really mean that you're really bubbly or all of that. No, a person who is in the moment right now and can feel the fun and joy within themselves and have a good relationship with themselves, that goodness is reflected in every sentence they speak, in every act they do, in every walk they have, right? And that's one really important aspect of mindfulness. See, I don't know, a lot of people believe in it, a lot of people do not believe in it. So divinity speaks through us. If universe has a plan, it comes out to us. And when we are in a room and carry certain energy to us, that divinity is flowing through us. Every word we are speaking has that kind of goodness, so that whenever someone comes in contact, they also feel, wow, it is goodness. And the moment you bring that goodness within yourself, the communication also starts changing. Because you're not speaking to impress anyone. You're not speaking to run away from someone's judgment. No, you're speaking because you can feel the deliciousness of something that is happening within you. You're so thrilled and happy to be in the moment right now that you're just, in that flow. And one more way to have a really good communication, like, sometimes when you're prepared, like for a presentation, if you're prepared in a presentation, you speak good. Why do you speak good when you're prepared? It's because you can focus. Focus has the deliciousness, that goodness of being in the moment and being now. So when you're prepared, you can feel that goodness within yourself. And that is why whenever you speak after being prepared, that is shown with it. So sometimes, even if you're not prepared, but you have a good relationship with yourself and good relationship with the life that you're living, that would just show up. And even if there are days when you don't feel that, but if you have had good amount of days when you have given enough goodness to yourself, that will also, keep a little bit of itself, or even on those days when you are not doing that, when you're not feeling that high. Okay. Did that answer your question, Sean?
Yeah. Mish Sharon Tuni, thank you for that information, as well as thank you for your precise answer. And all of my question has been answered on your answer as well. And thank you for that information. You enlightened myself on how do I what did you call this, accept those toxic environment, to cut off, and yeah, just go with the flow of life. At the end of the day, we need to wear a smile. All right,
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you so much, Sean.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for this really very informative and incredible session. I would like to propose heartiest vote of thanks to you for gracing today's webinar. Your presence and wise words have helped magnifying in a best possible way. I hope all the participants learned a lot from this webinar. And I would like to thank you, ma'am, again for giving us your valuable time. And I'm delighted to be part of this webinar. A good event never ends in the world. They just take a pause and keep us awaiting for the next. All good things eventually end. And I consider everyone to be fortunate to be part of this webinar.